everyone, welcome back. As you know, I usually do recipes that are good for your body or good for your soul. And since last week I shared one that was more good for your soul, today I'm going to share a recipe that is good for your body, so a little bit healthier. And that was actually inspired by my 10-month-old son. Yes, so this recipe, you know, adults will enjoy it too, but this is really geared towards your kiddos. And it's a really healthy recipe, really easy, really simple. As you can see, I don't have a lot of things out here, so it's gonna be great. It's easy for anybody, and it's also very forgiving. You can make it what you want. I'm actually scaling it back just a little bit, just because my son is still under a year, so keeping things a little bit more mild. But the recipe that I'm gonna share today are baked oatmeal cups. So they are a very easy breakfast that you make ahead of time, just in like little mini muffin tins, and then you can keep in your fridge for about a week in like a Tupperware airtight container, and then you can also freeze them if you'd like to, and those keep for about like a month or something. So let's get started. So first I am going to talk about my dry ingredients that I have here. So in this bowl I have 2 cups of old-fashioned oats, and then I have another bowl, still the same thing, 1 cup, but I'm gonna put it in a food processor here and just kind of grind it up so that it's more like a fine meal, almost like breadcrumb like consistency. You don't wanna grind it to a flour, because then you lose a little bit of that texture in your muffins or your cups, whatever you wanna call them. So I'm just gonna dump that in here. Alrighty. Now we'll give it a few pulses here. Brace yourself for loud noises. All right. We'll take this off here. And that looks perfect. Just a little bit more coarse than, you know, your breadcrumbs. So that's gonna add great texture to this oatmeal cup. So I'm just gonna pour that in here. Now we're gonna set this all aside. Is anyone else intimidated by food processors? I remember when I first started, I was like, I'm going to chop off a finger. I know, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but it's gonna happen. So, also to my dry ingredients, I'm going to add some spices here. So this, like I said, you can make it what you want. I'm adding a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then I also have 2 teaspoons of baking powder. So I'm just gonna sprinkle that in here. Just gonna give this a quick toss to combine everything here. All right, and I'm gonna set that aside. That was it for dry ingredients, super easy. So now for the wet ingredients, you need 2 ripe bananas. So this is a really great way just to use up your leftovers that you kind of have that you would just throw away anyway. Perfect for babies. Anything that's mushy, right? Or anything that you can mush. We actually recently started finger foods with him about a couple months ago. He had to go through allergy testing, poor guy, but everything came back totally fine. But anyway, so we were a little bit slower to start with doing more finger foods and table foods. So once we got the green light, he has just been exposed to a cornucopia of stuff. It's been so fun. But with that, you know, you also want to make sure you're thinking about what you're giving them. So this was something that I came across that just seemed like a healthy recipe, and it's worked, and he loved it. So it's a win-win, so I'm sharing it. Anytime I find something really good, or I kind of tweak a few things to make it even better, I have to share it with people that I love, because I feel like something you gotta let people know, right? All right, those are mixed pretty well. Now to this, I'm going to add 1 cup of almond milk, or milk of your choice. If you want to do regular milk, coconut milk, cashew milk, whatever, totally fine. Okay. Then I also have 2 eggs here, which I'll add. Always a good tip to crack your eggs in a separate bowl instead of the bowl that you're mixing everything in, because if you get a few shells, easier to fish them out of there than the entire bowl. And then I just like to add a splash of vanilla. So normally to this, you could add, you know, a little bit of salt or maybe some maple syrup to sweeten it if you want. But since my kid is under a year, like I said, I'm making it a little bit more bland. All right, so now I'll kind of break up those egg yolks And I'm just gonna give this a quick stir just to get all of this stuff combined. All right. Now the last thing I'm going to add to this is a 1/4 cup of coconut oil that I just melted. So pour that in there. This already smells so good. It smells just like banana. It smells like banana. It just smells like banana. It smells like banana, vanilla, and then I'm also getting whiffs of the cinnamon over here. Every time I make this, my house smells so good. So, can't go wrong. All right, last step, combine them. So I'm dumping all of my wet ingredients into my dry ingredients, making sure I get all of the liquid here. Here we go. Now I'm just gonna mix all of this together. Now it will kind of be a soupy mixture. That's totally fine. The oats are going to absorb a lot of that liquid as they bake, so don't worry about that if you're like, this does not look like it's gonna turn out. It will, just trust the process. All right, this is almost good. Here we wanna mix in all of that really good banana. It smells heavenly. All right. Ta-da! So now you're just ready to scoop your mixture. I have a 24 count mini muffin tin here, and this will make roughly 24, but you may have like a few extras, and so then you can do a couple batches if you want. And like I said, this is really what you want to make it. So if you want to add blueberries, if you want to top this with chocolate chips, coconut, really whatever you want to, appease your kids as they grow older, that is what you'll do. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to scoop this in all of these little ones here. And now I did grease this prior with a little bit of coconut oil too. So they're going to come out nice and clean. You do not have to worry about them sticking. It ends up perfect every time, every time. So I'm going to go continue to do this, and then I will meet you at the oven when they're ready to come out and my house smells like an oatmeal cookie. So I just took these out of the oven. How good do they look? My whole house smells like a giant oatmeal cookie. It smells amazing in here. It's like a cross of banana bread and an oatmeal cookie. That's how everything smells. It smells heavenly. So just make sure whenever you take them out, just insert a toothpick, make sure they still come out clean and that they're completely done. These were in for about 17 minutes, so I did give them the full time. But now, as you can see, let's maybe see if I can get one out of here if it's not too hot. All right, so it's a little hot, but here's how big they are. So the perfect size for a little baby, for a little bite, and they are totally delicious. Still a little hot, but absolutely yummy. And you know your baby's getting good fuel with these. Perfect breakfast on the go. What a great way to start your morning.